We typically see college-aged women, and a lot of them are low income and are often looking for a place to stay because they have been kicked out by a family member, or that's a threat that they're facing.
For the young Christian, sometimes their parents are threatening to remove them from the home. For the young unmarried person, their relationship status is up in the air and questionable. And then we also serve a fair number of people that are homeless.
So housing is always, as long as I've been at CAPS these 16 years, that's always been something that we've had to scurry around to try and help a girl find a place to live. That it can be the whole reason. In fact, a couple of months ago, we had a client come to us, and she said that she didn't want to have an abortion, but that was the only thing she could imagine because she didn't have a place to live. She was checking herself and her couple of kids into the San Diego Rescue Mission every night. And so she said to us, I don't want to have an abortion, and I want to adopt out this baby, but if I can't find housing soon, I'm going to have to abort.
Distance is a big factor for young people that are facing an unintended pregnancy. Their life is already looking toward great disruption, and by telling them that the nearest maternity home is a great distance away, they are considering that even more of their life is going to be disrupted. They're going to have to leave their community, they're going to have to leave their home, their friends, their school, and it's an additional stress.
Having something really close so that the girls are still able to be within their life situation and be around their support system is crucial. It's very difficult for a woman to imagine moving away from everything she's ever known. When she's already in a crisis situation, she needs the help close by.
When I became a Christ follower, my life was completely turned upside down. It was no longer about me or my desires or my level of comfort. Everything began to take on a very outward focus, and I found myself being thrown into any serving opportunity that was available for me. Perhaps because I was already a mother, I found myself attracted to opportunities working with children, specifically children who were unwanted, abused, neglected, or who were orphans, because I would look at those children and I would see my own daughter in their faces, and the thought of her being unloved and not cared for just really deeply affected me. Now, babies in particular hold a very special place in my heart. For me, birth to crawling are some of the most precious months in a lifetime, and so I guess it's only fitting that one day God gave me a vision for a way that I could help babies and their mothers, and that vision was to open a maternity home serving women in crisis pregnancies here in San Diego.
A crisis pregnancy is any woman facing an unplanned pregnancy. Often it's the nature of the unplanned pregnancy that creates the desperation. People in desperate circumstances have always resonated with me, as I grew up in a home which, due to financial circumstances, often was in dire straits. Serving in places like Haiti and Tecate only strengthened our resolve to help people in need. Because of cultural acceptance, widespread availability, and convenience, and societal pressures, like people telling women that they're too young, that they're not ready, or somehow that they're just not fit to be mothers, puts every woman in an unplanned pregnancy in a vulnerable state. Did you know that in San Diego County, every year, there are over 20,000 abortions? In the state of California, there are over 180,000 abortions. And in the United States of America, every year, there are over 1.2 million abortions.
There are so many reasons women choose abortion, and many of these reasons are deeply rooted in fear. The women feel alone and unsupported, and they can't imagine having another human being to care for. It just seems impossible. The 2911 maternity home will be a place that removes many of these obstacles. We come alongside these women, not just during their pregnancy, but for an extended period of time after they give birth, whether that birth results in a decision for a woman to parent the child or place the baby into a loving and adoptive family. A maternity home is just that. It's a home. The women will live together like a family as they each work toward goals in education, counseling, and life skills, all while receiving emotional and spiritual support. It's a comprehensive and holistic program that doesn't just seek to put a Band-Aid on the issues in the women's lives, but to move them toward lasting and transformative change. In the home, they'll hear, maybe for the first time in their entire lives, that they're valuable, and for no other reason than they were made in the image of God. In the time that we have with them in the home, we will work to help them be restored to the good plan and the original plan that God had for each one of their lives.
It's amazing to think that in a city the size of San Diego, the 8th largest city in the United States, that there are no other maternity homes in the greater San Diego area. There is one other maternity home in San Diego County, which is in Escondido. Our home will complement the local pregnancy resource centers by essentially picking up where they left off and working in conjunction with them. Becky and I heard so many people getting caught up in the debate, people arguing about what side of the floor they stood on. Ultimately, we decided we didn't want to be a part of the argument, we wanted to be a part of the solution. Some of those solutions are simple. For example, 75% of abortion-minded women, when given the opportunity to have an ultrasound, choose life.
This home won't just impact the lives of the women and the children who live there. It's going to change the lives of every staff member, every volunteer, the surrounding communities, and really the whole world. The ripple effect that it will have is hard for us to even wrap our heads around. Mike and I were at the Billy Joel concert at Petco Park earlier this year, and I was looking out into the crowd, and at one point the lights came on to show every single person that was there, and I felt like it was God giving me a glimpse of the number of lives that will be changed by the 2911 maternity home. And that's a lot of lives, but we serve a great God.
Someone said to me recently that we will never know the impact this home will have on our community and in our country this side of heaven. That's such a true statement. But I do know that it's already opened the door for us to have conversations with people, sharing our values, that all lives matter, that every individual matters, and that we're all made in God's image.
Our community and our world is hurting so badly, and this home is bringing healing to many people. We had one volunteer share with us that the work she's doing with our ministry is bringing her tremendous healing from her experience with abortion nearly 40 years ago. 40 years that she was carrying around the weight of that decision. Also, a few months ago, we had a presentation at a local church, and after the service, a recent high school graduate approached us, and he was telling us how appreciative he was that we were starting this home because he was an unplanned pregnancy. Thankfully, 18 years ago, his mom made the brave decision to choose life for him, and now he's off to college at UC Santa Barbara.
But for homes like ours, and generous people like yourselves, we might not hear the story of the 18-year-old boy going to Santa Barbara. Imagine the stories that we'll be able to tell in 18 years because of the seeds we are sowing today.